Tyson Fury was rapping along to the Notorious B.I.G. on his birthday, and he of course rapped the N-word, and if you don't know, now you know. And of course there's been a backlash to this. People have accused him of being racist, but does that make him racist for rapping along to a song? And this is the same debate we've had before. Is it ever okay for a white person to say the N-word? And he's saying it in front of his kids, and possibly his children are also rapping along and saying the word. But where is the problem, and why is it racist? Is it because people are watching it and are going to hear it and it's being broadcast? What if he was on his own? What if he was rapping along in the shower on his own and nobody was going to hear it? Would it still be wrong?
Am I not cool enough for you? What's up, bro?
And when you don't rap it, if you just blank it out, are you still thinking it in your head? Is that still racist? If Tyson Fury was rapping along in the woods and no one heard him, would you still be offended? And one of the good things about all this is Tyson Fury will not give a damn what people think. Tyson Fury is not worried about public opinion, whether he's popular or not. Maybe that's why he does end up making mistakes like this, because he doesn't care what people think. But Tyson Fury is not racist, and I don't need to tell you that. You only have to look at his entourage and his trainers and the people around him, and the great example he is of how an athlete can work with and relate to people of different racial backgrounds and different faith backgrounds. I've mentioned before that in his dressing room, prior to coming out to the ring, they hold communal prayers together, both Muslims and Christians, and they observe and respect each other's faiths and religions. And people have said it's not right for a white person to utter the N-word. Is Tyson Fury white? He's an ethnic minority in the UK. He's of a traveller background, and we can explore where the heritage of the travellers and where their origins came from. But is he white? He's certainly an ethnic minority. And if you think it's hard to be a black person in the United Kingdom, which it is, try being a traveller for a week. See how that goes. See how you get on. I think you'll find the travelling community must be one of the most marginalised ethnic groups in the United Kingdom. The kind of disgusting racism that gets thrown around regarding the travelling community is disgusting, especially in the press, the mainstream media. There was a story the other day of a farmer who was accused of trying to blackmail Tesco's, having poisoned baby food. And his excuse for why he did it, and this went to print, was that he was worried because travellers had been threatening him. He'd been threatened by travellers. And this was reported on the BBC. This was written in the Daily Mail. He was worried because travellers had been threatening him. Not people of a traveller background, not travelling people, just travellers. Can you imagine if the story had been, well, he was concerned because he'd been threatened by blacks. He was worried because he'd been threatened by Muslims. It would never be written up like that. But the word travellers gets thrown around and immediately it's synonymous with, you know what travellers are like. Travellers, bad news. We don't do that with any other ethnic group, and we don't even question it. So the travelling community in the United Kingdom, I would say currently, are the most discriminated against ethnic group, and the group which it's deemed most okay to discriminate against. Oh, threatened by travellers, were you? Not some people who happen to be travellers. You got threatened by travellers. Well, you know what travellers are like. That's just what they do. Now, this is not to say it's fine for Tyson Fury to use the N-word. That's a debate, a discussion we can have. On a video I uploaded the other day about the N-word and exploring the history of it, someone mentioned if you knew the history of it, you would never even question whether it's okay to say it, even though the video was exploring the history of the N-word. But language does change, and I'm not saying it's okay to use the N-word, but it might be one day. Words and their meaning and their connotations change over time. Language evolves. And I think it will one day be fine to say the N-word and know the history behind it and know why it was a word that was used to abuse people. But you can read it on a page. Perhaps you can rap along to a song when singing it. Personally, I wouldn't. But I don't think we should vilify someone like Tyson Fury because he did that. And I have to be honest now, I'm very biased because I happen to like Tyson Fury. I love Tyson Fury. I think Tyson Fury is a great example of an athlete. Everything that he's been through, coming back from the brink of suicide, getting through depression and addiction, I think the guy has done so much to inspire people that I'm very much biased in favour of him. And let's face it, if someone like Boris Johnson had been rapping along to Biggie Smalls and said, if you don't know, now you know, I think I would probably leapt on it and said, there you go. There's the nasty party being racist again. So look, we're all biased. Cards on the table. For all the good he's done, I don't want Tyson Fury to be vilified or regarded as a racist. And if he is wrong to rap along and say the N-word, and it's not for me to say, it'll be, I suppose, for the black community. Not that the black community exists, black people. Black people are a vast, diverse group of individuals, and tell that one to Joe Biden, who thinks that black people aren't as diverse as Latinos, I think he said when he put his foot in his mouth, but that might be for another video. So it is always for the individual to say what is offensive and what isn't. And as we know, offence is taken, not given. So let me know in the comments, especially if you're black, but not only if you're black. Do you think it was acceptable for Tyson Fury to rap along to Notorious B.I.G. and drop the N-word? And also, do you think it ever will be acceptable? Even if it's not acceptable now, could we ever live in a time where we could understand things in context and understand that, well, he's just rapping along to the song, and when he says the N-word, he's just reading the lyrics? Will we ever live in a time like that?